Hello everyone and welcome to another Marvel Crisis Protocol Battle Report, a 15 threat match for you today with the Guardians of the Galaxy faction making their debut and two members of the Black Order, but obviously not the full one because the rest of the team are not out yet. But the table is all set up and ready to go, so we're just going to jump straight into looking at the teams. Please do remember to subscribe if you want to see more content in the future, and with that said, let's get started. So here are the sort of Guardians of the Galaxy. They're the Guardians faction, but until Gamora, Nebula, and etc. are on the table, we have to kind of make up the numbers with Winter Soldier, and Iron Man is also there. So anyway, Peter Quill is here as the leader of the Guardians, and we have Groot, we have Rocket, Winter Soldier, Iron Man, and we have the Power Stone. So that Infinity Stone is on Quill, so the way that works is that he gets 2 additional power along with the 1 he normally gets in the power phase, and that is an additional 1 threat because that's 14, and then that's the 1 for 15. And their tactics cards: Groot of the Milano, Deadly Duo, We Are Groot, Rocket Boots, and Mission Objective. And remember, the faction bonus is that they can destroy one of these tactics cards to get 3 Winging It tokens to put on someone for a turn. And here are their opponents, just 4 miniatures playing 5 of affiliations numerous. There's no set affiliation here because there's no balance. So there's Red Skull, he's going to be the de facto leader. Then we have Proxima Midnight, Corvus Glaive, and Venom. So no affiliation bonus, but still a very strong team. Their tactics cards: Lethal Protector, Recalibration Matrix, Field Dressing, Medpack, and Execute. And just before deployment, here is the 2 missions that were randomed up. It was the 15 threat that was picked to be played, but the other one is 19, and it is the one that came with the Guardians. It was in, can't remember if it was in Star-Lord's box or Groot and Rockets, but either way, Panic grips the city as evacuation efforts continue. So that is, there's 4 civilians, you can pay a power to pick them up, and if you hold one at the end phase you get a victory point. However, if you spend 6 power, you remove the civilian by saving them, and you score 2, and it removes it as an asset. So you deny points if it's someone who's going to go down, for instance. Gamma Waves is just the 3 showers, 1 point for controlling your own, 2 for the middle, 3 for the one on the opponent's side. With that, we'll get everything set up, see who's going first, show you deployment, and get into Battle Round 1. So we have everything deployed. It will be Team Red Skull going first, and they also picked this left side for deployment. So Proxima, Corvus, Red Skull, Venom, and then we also have the civilians, 1, 2, 3, 4, the Gamma Shelters, 1, 2, 3, and then we have the Guardians, Groot and Rocket. They basically have to be tied at the hip, otherwise Rocket gets annihilated. We have the Winter Soldier here, Iron Man, and over by himself we have Quill over there. So I think that covers everything. We're going to jump into the first activation of Battle Round 1. So Red Skull got the game started. He moved up medium into the closest Gamma Shelter for his team. Then he tapped the cube for 3 power and unfortunately did wound himself for 1 as a result. Then he spent that power to use the cube to teleport Venom forwards 2 just to get him within grabbing distance of that civilian there. Obviously Venom still gets a turn. Now it's over to the Guardians. Star-Lord was the first to activate for the Guardians. He moved up medium, spent 1 of his 3 power to pick up the civilian that was there, then moved medium again to where he is, and you can see the tool is precariously placed there, the range 2, just to show that he is within range 2 of the middle shelter, which means he's protected so he won't take gamma radiation damage at the end of the turn, but he's not close enough to secure it. So he's protected but he's not securing. Back over to Team Red Skull. So Corvus Glaive was next up. He moves medium, so he did a medium move to roughly there, then he did a follow-up medium move to this side of the bus shelter so that he is obscured so they can't just take pot shots at him if he was up on top of it. He is within 1 though, so he is counting as securing the middle shelter currently, which might be worth 2 points by the end of the turn if that doesn't change. Over to one of the other Guardians. So Iron Man was next up and he counterplayed, just did 2 medium move actions and he can fly, so he just hopped on top of the bus shelter and is securing the middle objective, so now it's contested between the 2 sides and it's over to Venom or Proxima. Venom spent 1 power to pick up the civilian that had been roughly there and then moved small twice to get into the shelter of his home base Gamma Shelter behind Red Skull because he only moves small so he can't really cover the distance just yet. And that's it for him. Winter Soldier's up next and he is just securing home base, just moved on to the closest shelter to hold that for the 1 victory point at the end of the turn. So Proxima is fast, she moves long, so she didn't even need her whole movement to get over to the civilian to pick it up. She then did another action, which was just a move, to where you can see her, so she is secure within the middle shelter, but she's not within one, so she's not like actually securing it. Sorry, I shouldn't have used the word secure twice there. She's safe inside the shelter, but she is not securing it, so it's still a draw there. That's also all of this side's activations, so Rocket and Groot just get to go one after the other. So we'll just cover Groot and Rocket together. Groot is slow, he's a slow tree, so he just moves small. He moved one small, spent power to pick up the civvy, moved small again, and there was no way he was getting safe, so he just kind of planted him, apologies for the pun, planted himself between both, so he is going to take damage at the end of the turn. But he is there and he is holding a civvy. Rocket just moved medium twice to get secure in the back shelter as well, and that does take us to the end of Battle Round 1. So in the turn in which the only damage done was Red Skull punching himself in the face with the power of the cube, it's even Stevens. Both teams hold their closest shelter for 1 victory point, and both teams hold the 2 civvies, 2 out of the 4 civvies each, for 2 victory points, meaning that it is even going into Battle Round 2 with 3 victory points each. The middle shelter is obviously contested between Iron Man and Corvus Glaive, and the only one to get damaged is Groot from the gamma waves sweeping across the stage. With that, it's into Battle Round 2 with the Cabal, sorry, they're not Cabal, with Team Red Skull going first. So Battle Round 2 did not get off to a good start for Team Red. So Corvus Glaive activated, and he did 2 strikes, which are 5 physical attacks, both on Iron Man because he's within range, because height isn't a thing in this game. And he whiffed. He whiffed entirely. Well, he didn't whiff entirely, sorry. Both actually managed to do 2 successes. But Iron Man gets 4 defense dice against physical, and it did nothing. Now technically for 0 cost, he could get Proxima to immediately activate to not let them get a turn. But with only 4 minis on the side, that doesn't seem like a good idea. So with that, it's over to the Guardians. So it turns out the first activation for the Guardian side was equally as bad. Iron Man activated, tried to do 2 repulsor blasts on Proxima because 1, she's holding the civvy, and 2, it could shove her away from safety, and both whiffed. And that wasn't even a case of her needing to roll defense dice, that was a total whiff of nothing but blanks and skulls. Red Skull was next up. He tapped the cube for 3 power, and he did not hurt himself. Then he used that power to move Venom forwards too, to where you can see him. And then for lack of anything better to do, he spent 1 power to do a Cosmic Blast, or whatever the little one is called. No, it is Cosmic Blast. On Iron Man, sapped 1 power from him, and did 1 damage. And other than that, just stayed where he was. Bucky the Winter Soldier activated next. He moved up medium to over there. He is within 1, because again, you ignore the height difference. And then he shot his assault rifle at Venom. Did really well, got 3 hits through. However, Venom rolled 5 for his defense, thanks to some crits. So no damage done there. He is helping to secure the middle. Currently it's still a draw, I think. No, actually securing wise, the Guardians have it, because Winter Soldier and Iron Man are close enough, and they've Team Red Skull have only got Corvus so far. Alright, so over to either Proxima or Venom. So Venom was next up, and as you can probably tell, he had a very effective turn. So first of all, he did Symbiotic Tendrils on Quill, and it did 3 damage and bled him, which was really good. That also gave him enough power to use Clintar Rage to pick up the bus station here and throw it at Winter Soldier. He was unable to dodge any of it, so he also took 3 damage because it was size 2 plus 1. Iron Man just falls where it was, as does the objective. And then for his second proper action, because Clintar Rage is just a superpower, he moved up so that he is in securing range of the central gamma shower there. So that was a very good turn for Venom. So Groot activated, he moved up for his first activation. Then he tried to do a normal strike on Proxima because she's got a civvy, and hopefully to generate enough power to do We Are Groot. However, he hit okay, he did 2, and she was able to defend against all of it, so did nothing. And it is over to Proxima to end the turn for Red Skull, and then it's Rocket and Quill get to do whatever they want this time. So it's going to be really, really messy in this middle shelter. Proxima moved around for her first action to get into contesting range, and then she did her basic attack on Groot and managed to do a single bit of damage. So that's it for Team Red Skull. So Star-Lord, Quill, who is bleeding, and Rocket, they get to have their activations and then end off the turn. So for the final 2 activations of Battle Round 2, Quill got rid of his bleed and then just fell back to the safety of the Gamma Shelter here because there is no room to get around that one there. Rocket stayed where he was and fired 2 plasma shots at Proxima. The first one did amazingly well and did 4 damage. The second whiffed entirely. She has 1 health left on her healthy side, which is very bad. And that does take us to the end of the battle round, so we'll recap the points. And at the end of battle round 2, things are actually staying even. So both teams, Red Skull's holding their own for 1, own Gamma Shower for 1. Rocket and Quill are holding theirs for 1. The middle Gamma Shower is contested. 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2, 3. Healthy characters from both sides. So that is contested, so no one scores the middle. And both sides still have 2 civvies each for 2 victory points. So as we go into battle round 3, it's even at 6 victory points each, with Team Red Skull going first yet again. So to get battle round 3 started, Proxima Midnight activated, and fearing that she was going to go down and drop her civilian, and having exactly 6 power as of the power phase for this turn, she began by spending 6 power to evacuate the civilian she was carrying. So it is now removed from the game as an asset, and instantly Team Red Skull scores 2 victory points, taking them to 8-6. Then she stayed still, struck at Groot twice. The first one whiffed entirely, the second one only did 1 damage. She's been getting exceptionally unlucky with her attack rolls this game. But she did evacuate a civilian before potentially losing it, and 1 more damage on Groot. Over to the Guardians of the Galaxy. Groot was next up, and he had a busy turn. First of all, he played We Are Groot. So for 3 power, he spends this, and then he and allied characters, and it does specify only allied characters, within range 4 of him, which is pretty big, remove 2 damage. So he removed 2 damage, Winter Soldier removed 2 damage, and Quill removed 2 damage. So Winter Soldier and Quill are back to 1 damage on their card, as is Groot. Then he did a basic strike on Proxima, and did more than 1, but 1 was enough, so she is dazed. She only had 1 health left. He then tried to do another strike on Corvus and whiffed, but he did enough for now. So Red Skull decided to just stay where he was and start blasting. He did 2 Cosmic Blasts on Groot because his energy defense is much worse than his physical. The first one did 2, the second did 1. Both managed to sap power, however. 1 on the first one, 2 on the second. So Groot, I think, he's only left with 1 power after all that. He's on 4 damage out of 7 HP as well, so he's still standing, he's very resilient, and it's over to the Guardians. Rocket Raccoon activated and kind of followed suit to what Red Skull did. He's just sitting on the back objective and taking pot shots with his range 5 energy weapon. He does have more than enough power to do his Hadron Collider blast, but at this point if he shot into the middle he'd be hurting more of his own people than the enemy. So he just did 2 normal energy blasts against Venom because he's weak to energy. However, the rolls were bad, so Venom only took 1 damage, all said and done. Venom was up next and he started swinging. So first of all, he did We Are Venom, the massive 7 physical attack. On Groot, only needed to do 3, but did 4, so Groot got dazed. Now, Groot had a civilian and has dropped it, however, you're only allowed to hold 1 of the civilians at a time, and Venom has 1, so he can't pick it up. So it has to be placed within 2. It was placed there in front of Red Skull, behind Corvus. It's probably not going to stop Iron Man going and grabbing it, but at least it puts him out of position, is the thinking there. And then he just did a basic strike for his other action because he wants to stay contesting the middle because Proxima is down. And just did a basic strike on Winter Soldier, did 1 damage and bled him again. Or sorry, no, it was Quill that was bled last time, but now Winter Soldier is bled. And with that, it's over to the Guardians. So Iron Man activated next, and you might be thinking it doesn't look like he's done anything. Well, his hand was forced. He moved medium, he has fly, so he can just go over. He moved medium, spent 1 power to pick up the civvy. Moved medium to go back because he has to contest this, because if he leaves, it goes to Team Red Skull because of Corvus and Venom still being conscious and Groot and Proxima not, so it would just be Winter Soldier. I guess technically Quill should have come across, but from where he is, Quill and Rocket have a very nice firing line at most of the enemy teams. So Iron Man used up his turn. Plus Iron Man is durable, he's got good defense, and he has his -1 to the damage to a minimum of 1 he receives. And now it's over to just Corvus. Yeah, just Corvus for Team Red Skull. So Corvus did indeed activate, and he showed his wife up by having a super effective turn. So from where he was, which obviously he hasn't moved because he stayed still and did attacks, his first choice was to go after Winter Soldier, and he did so with a basic strike, and it got through for 3 damage, which was more than enough to daze Winter Soldier. His bleed is removed as a result, but he'll be flipping his card. That gave him enough power to then use Death Blow, which is a 7 physical attack, followed by a free strike afterwards on poor Iron Man. So the Death Blow did 3, well it did 4 but it got reduced to 3, and then it did 1, and that was enough to daze him. He dropped his civilian, and Corvus was not holding 1, so he is now. That is significant. But it is over to Star-Lord to end the turn. So Quill decided his best course of action was to fire his element guns full auto at Venom, because Venom has very bad energy defense. It's a 7 energy attack he rolled. He didn't have any hits in his roll, and that's where his passive Plucky Attitude comes in, where if there's no hits in a hit roll or no blocks in a block roll, he can choose to re-roll the entire roll. So he did, and the first roll rolled into one hit which was blocked. That bad. So yeah, he fired them full auto again, and this time he had much more success. He did 5 damage to Venom, but Venom is still standing. He's got 7 HP, so he has 2 left, but he is hurting, and that takes us to the end of Battle Round 3. So that's the thing with this Gamma Shelter objective. Every time you get it, it always becomes just a big battle royale in the middle, and that is something 4 characters dazed in 1 turn. So the scores, remember that mid-round 2 victory points were scored by Proxima Midnight by sending off Civvy. But other than that, Team Red Skull own their own Gamma Shelter. They own the centre one because Corvus and Venom are both alive. Everyone else is dazed, or was dazed. They're about to flip over their cards. So that's 2, and then the Guardians own their own for 1. Victory points from civvies. The Guardians only have 1 civvy on Star-Lord, and despite sending a civvy away, Team Red Skull have 2 of them. Corvus has 1 and Venom has 1. So, as we go into the start of Battle Round 4, it's looking really good for Team Red Skull, which is actually kind of surprising. They are at 13 of the 16 required to win, Guardians trailing on 8. And the Team Red Skull are still going first. So yeah, as we get into Battle Round 4, we're staying in this melee in the middle, but it's important because Venom activated, and he spent 6 power to get rid of the civilian he was carrying. So that means it's 2 instant victory points, which puts Team Red Skull at 15. They only need to score 1 more victory point to win, which is basically, I don't think they can be stopped. However, it might happen even sooner, because if Corvus can generate 3 power, either from taking damage or doing damage with basic strikes, he can just get rid of the civvy he's holding and instantly win. So anyway, I also forgot to mention full auto from Star-Lord last turn bled Venom. So for Venom's turn, he got rid of the civvy, then he just did 2 basic strikes on Winter Soldier. First one did 2 damage, the other one did nothing. That did generate enough power, however, for him to throw, and because he had 7 power on him, I think, at the top of the turn. He threw Winter Soldier for 1 damage into Star-Lord, who also took 1 damage from it. He did not get rid of the bleed, so he took 1 damage from that, and he is 1 away from being dazed. So first up for the Guardians was Iron Man, and he did a repulsor blast on Venom that whiffed, so he had to just stay still, do another one. That one got through, it did 2 damage, but he only had 1 health left. So that is Venom dazed as expected, so he is out for this round, and this is probably going to be the last round as previously stated. So Venom's taking a nap. He earned it though. So Corvus activated next just to see if this is the end of all things. He has a choice between attacking Iron Man and Groot. They both have 4 physical defense, and he strikes with physical damage. Went for Groot because Invincible Iron Man would reduce any damage done by 1. So he attacked Groot. The first strike did 2 damage, so that generated him 2 of the power he needed out of the 3 he needed. The second did 3, so that's it. Doesn't even matter that Groot didn't go down. Corvus immediately spends 6 power, get rid of, to evacuate the civilian he was holding on to. That gives Team Red Skull 2 victory points. Technically takes him to 17, but only 16 was needed, and it is immediate that you do it. If we just get the card here. During its activation, a character holding a citizen may spend 6. The character controlling the player immediately scores 2 victory points, so it's not at the end of the round, it's immediate. So that is it. The end of the game is upon us, just like that. So that Panic Grip Citizens, or whatever it's called, mission, the 19 threat mission, is very interesting because of the immediate scoring on the card. It does take an asset out of the field, but the times at which it happened were perfect. Proxima did it just before she went down, Venom did it just before he went down, Corvus did it to win. So yeah, there wasn't really anything the Guardians could do, and they were definitely going to win in the long term because Rocket and Star-Lord could just sit at the back over here and pepper them with shots that they're weak to. I mean, I think Proxima and Corvus both only have 3 energy defense, Venom has 2. So they were going to lose the middle in the long term. But it came down to those civilians. A very interesting mission. I like that they're still thinking up very interesting ideas for missions to include in boxes. That was either, again, it was either with the Star-Lord box or the Groot and Rocket box. I've forgotten offhand now. But it came with one of them. Would things have turned out differently if we were playing with a 19 threat as opposed to 15? That's impossible to say because, the extra 4 points could make all the difference. It could be one character, it could be a couple of 2 cost. I don't know. I'm actually surprised that Team Red Skull won. Proxima was whiffing all match, so I don't think we saw her at her best, but Corvus did very well. And we didn't get to see them combine their power either, which is a little bit of a shame. But I'm sure we'll see them again in the future, as well as the Guardians. I hope you enjoyed watching, this Marvel Crisis Protocol Battle Report. There'll be more to come in the future, along with painting videos and unboxings of new releases as and when they happen. Please do remember to subscribe if you want to see more, and please do remember also to stay safe out there, and stay indoors, paint your miniatures. Thank you for watching, and see you in the future. Ta for now.